Though Judaism is not the dominant religion of Russia, it has always influenced Russian life. And despite the destruction of untold numbers of Jews under Nazism and communism, it is claimed that this country still has the third largest population of Jews in the world. So in this section, we will take a brief look at the history of the weekly cycle in Russia as our example of what has happened to a fundamental truth amongst the Jews and Judaism. Russia's first book, Evangeli, contains most of the four Gospels and was written during the years of 1056 through 1057. In Matthew 28:1 it says, "In the evening of the Sabbath, as it began to dawn on the first from Sabbath." Notice that the Sabbath is the last day of the week, for it is just before the first day of the week, which is not called Sunday, but instead the first from Sabbath, or the first day after the Sabbath. So from this 1883 facsimile of Evangeli, it is clear that nearly 1,000 years ago, the first day of the week was Sunday and the last day of the week was the Sabbath. Even as late as the middle of the 17th century, the Sabbath of creation was considered to be the day of rest, and Nedelia, or Sunday, was identified as the first day of the week, as may be seen from this quotation.
On Sabbath, free yourself from hard labor, stay at home and commemorate the dead, or go to the institutions, or receive wanderers with love, or what is best is to be in church and to practice godliness. Sabbath has the image of the creation of everything living and is called the rest. Nedelia is the first day of God and bears the grace of the resurrection.
From the very beginning of the Russian Empire through the mid-19th century, there was absolutely no question as to the proper order of the weekly cycle. Nedelia, or Sunday, was always the first day of the week, and Subbota, or Sabbath, was always on the seventh. But in the early 1860s, Russian literature appeared which placed Ponedelnik, or Monday, on the first day of the week, and Voskresenye, or Sunday, on the seventh day. And by the mid-1870s, even the Russian Orthodox Church began to experiment with the use of the New World Order in its weekly cycle, as may be seen in this example from the book called Calendar for the Clergy for the year 1876. However, among Russia's civil calendars, the New World Order in the weekly cycle does not seem to have appeared until the year 1917 in this calendar dedicated to Tsar Nicholas II. The next year in which Sunday as the seventh day has been found in Russia's civil calendars is from the year 1924, just after Lenin's death and Stalin's takeover. Beginning in the late 1920s and continuing into the early 1940s, the Communist Party produced many different types of weekly cycle orders in the USSR. For example, in the year 1930, at least 14 different types of weekly cycle orders were produced. The calendars seen here all came from just one library, the St. Petersburg National Library in St. Petersburg, Russia. This calendar from 1933 has 3 different orders displayed on it. There is the 5-day week, as may be seen with the aid of the numbers 1 through 5 and the gold-colored bar. There is the 6-day week, seen with the aid of the red arrow. And there is the 7-day week, seen with the aid of the blue arrows, though no designation for the first or last day of the week is actually given on the calendar. 1948 appears to be the last year in which the majority of the calendars produced in Russia placed Subbota, or Sabbath, on the 7th day of the week. Just as is the case in a number of other countries around the world, Russia is still producing a few calendars each year which have Sabbath as the last day of the week, though most Russian calendars have the New World Order with Sunday as the 7th day of the week. And as in so many other countries, most Russians do not realize or even care that they are using a confused and contradictory weekly cycle which is deceptive in nature. When you consider that many of the Slavic people within Russia and Eastern Europe are of Jewish blood, it becomes evident that much of the importance attached to the Sabbath of the Creator God has been destroyed among the majority of those who have for thousands of years held the Creator's seventh-day Sabbath truth in high esteem. Who has been responsible for this well-planned, long-drawn-out deceptive process of implementing a new world order in the weekly cycle?